Okay, good evening. We're now start part 2, and I'll hand it over to the superintendent to finish his report.
Thank you very much, everybody, for tonight. I just want to once again congratulate all of our tenured teachers and our retired teachers. We just spent some time celebrating our adults in our community, and now we're going to celebrate some of our students. The AP Capstone program started a couple of years ago at Sayville High School, where students get an opportunity to dig deep into research and learning, and the skills that these kids develop is almost like on a doctoral level from when you get to see their presentations. So I just want to thank Mr. Shaw, who teaches the class and provided us with 5 outstanding students, and I want to invite them up today to give their mini present. These are just mini clips of their presentations that they had to do to pass this exam. So come on up, guys. You want to sit at the seat?
Okay. Thank you. They're playing on my dashboard. I don't think it's.
That should have.
I tried the other side too.
Is it on Google Docs?
Yeah.
So why don't you just sign into Google Docs?
Okay.
There. Go ahead and sign in to your Google Docs.
Add. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This is crazy. Guys, don't look. My password. Oh my. Stop. Go here. No, it's right here. It's right here. You're freaking out. What is that? Okay, you ready? Okay. Go.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank each and every board member for inviting my peers and myself to present our research tonight. For my project in particular, I focus on student engagement and world language classes. The goal of my study was to examine participation and engagement in world language classes and compare it to other core classes such as science, English, mathematics, and social studies to determine if different levels of participation lead to increased student-teacher relationships as well as better grades. In order to properly understand my topic, I believe it is necessary to first understand the concept of student engagement. To put it in simple terms, student engagement is the effort made from students simply to try in their class. This can be observed in 3 different dimensions, but for my topic, I mainly focus on behavioral engagement, which was observed and referred to as student participation. Additionally, I felt this research mattered and was important to investigate because high school is a time in which students develop ideas of who they want to become. They are pliable learners, and role models are a necessity. Therefore, I find it critical to discover the question that if students who participate and communicate more in class will be more likely to gain better connections with their teachers and get more overall out of their high school experience. Additionally, I find it necessary to examine if this increased amount of engagement may lead to better grades, as evidently, better grades may lead to acceptance into a better post-secondary schooling. Ultimately, I approached this goal with a main research question in mind. Compared to 11th grade core curriculum classes, how does increased participation in world language classes generate student-teacher relations and promote better grades for high school students? In order to answer this question, I observed 2 different sets of participants, which included teachers and students found in 11th grade Regents level French, Spanish, English, social studies, science, and math courses. In order to answer this, my method consisted of 3 different parts: student surveys, observing classes, and teacher interviews. Firstly, a survey was conducted and pushed out via Google Forms and Google Classroom to the students of the aforementioned classes. Questions such as, I participate in my language class at least 3 times per class, or I do well academically in my language class, my grade is in or around the 90s were presented. Additionally, participants were asked about their relationships with their teachers, as well as if they felt they were more quiet than talkative in the class. The next step of my research method was sitting in and examining the targeted classes. Factors including teaching styles, classroom organization, activities, student and teacher behaviors, and class size were noted. However, the most important factor examined was student participation. The final step of my method was interviewing teachers of the observed and surveyed classes. The interviews lasted at most 5 minutes, in which the teachers were questioned surrounding their teaching style. Because their responses were not just one uniform answer, I took an average of how a teacher felt. For example, if they felt they had a good connection with a lot of their students, they were given the highest value of 5. On the other hand, if they felt they did not have a good connection with a lot of their students, they were given the lowest value of 1. Once my data was collected, I then utilized a 2-sample t-test in order to obtain my results. This test essentially produces what is known as a p-value, which allows statisticians and researchers to determine if a set of data is statistically significant. If the calculated p-value is less than 0.05, then the comparison would be considered significant. First, I performed a 2-sample t-test to see if levels of participation were changed depending on the class. As you can see by the p-values, there was a high correlation between world language classes and a greater level of participation. Next, I performed 2-sample t-tests to see if there was a correlation between increased participation in world language classes and increased student-teacher relationships. As you can see, the results of the p-values, the test produced p-values of 0.743 and 0.021. These values show that from a student perspective, there is no correlation between increased participation and a relationship with their teacher. However, from a teacher's perspective, a statistical significance actually can be seen between increased participation and student-teacher relationships, meaning that to some extent, one could argue that increased participation allows for greater student-teacher relationships. Lastly, I performed additional tests to gauge the relationship between increased participation and student grades. Using the results from the student surveys, the p-value calculated showed that there is no correlation between increased participation and a betterment of grades. Therefore, the results of my study show that there's an increased amount of participation in world language classes, which to some extent leads to increased student-teacher relationships, but does not impact a student's grades. After reaching my conclusions, I hope to have an influence on the way teachers approach instruction styles. I hope that my findings will emphasize the need for teachers to prioritize student-teacher relationships or participation, as it may promote greater student-teacher relationships, and therefore students will feel more comfortable and respected by their instructors. This concludes my presentation, and once again, I want to thank the board and Dr. Ferris for inviting us to speak about our work, and I want to thank all of you for your undivided attention.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Buono, and throughout the course of the school year, I conducted my capstone research project on preventing the decline of high school music programs. As a music student myself, I sort of knew from the start of the program that I wanted to do my project on something music related. However, I wasn't exactly sure what, but after doing some preliminary research and finding articles by authors such as Professors Ruth and Molensifen and by the Yamaha staff, I was able to determine that the size of school music programs over the course of the past decade or so have been decreasing, but the availability of said programs have remained stagnant throughout the United States. So I knew there was an issue with the size of programs decreasing. Furthermore, conducting further research, I was able to determine that a lot of educators and researchers were conducting research on the educational benefits of music programs. And in doing so, they hope that if students were to understand these benefits, they'd be more likely to stay in music programs. However, for my research, I wondered if this was really the case, which led me to a gap of why do students really care about the music programs they're part of? Because if the most important part of the program isn't the educational benefits, then students would continue to drop out and the problem would not be resolved. So for my research, I answered the question, what is the best method to increase the amount of students who remain in school music programs upon entry to high school in a suburban school system? A suburban school system being Sayville schools. My research followed three major steps and went through 3 major goals. The first of which, I created a survey which I sent out to former music students, current music students, and music teachers in order to figure out the most prevalent reason that students drop out of music, as well as when was most common for students to drop out of music in our area. Following the survey, I conducted a focus group with current music students following in-person gatherings throughout 3 periods in the school day. The focus group was conducted in order to address my gap and figure out why students cared about the music programs they were part of. In order to qualify for my focus group, a student had to be either a junior or senior in high school and must have been in a music program throughout their entire school career in order to ensure accurate results as to what the most what the most important part of the music program was for them throughout the course of the entire year. Taking the data from my survey and my focus group, I coded them together to gather my results and provide feedback on what can be done about the issue in order to keep more students in music programs for longer. Results of my research were rather interesting, as I found that the most prevalent reason that students seem to join music was due to college and future careers and educational benefits, which is what a lot of researchers had been discovering. However, the reason that a lot of students seem to keep music in their schedules was because of the community aspect and the social aspect of music and the relationships and the bonding that they found with other members of music programs. In terms of what the most prevalent reason as to why students seem to quit music, unfortunately, seemed to be a student having a poor teacher experience, most commonly happening later in middle school. So what can be done to solve this issue? I identified 3 major points. The first point, and probably most important point, is that students, especially in middle school, need to be sure that they have a backbone of their music careers, and this can come through teacher support. If teachers stay positive and supportive throughout the student's entire music career, then this will eliminate the risk of a student having a poor teacher experience and therefore wanting to drop out of the program altogether. The next point is to emphasize the social aspects of the music programs, as social aspects and community relationships seem to be the most important part of music to high schoolers. So if students in middle school were to understand these social aspects at a younger age, they'd be more likely to stay in music because they'd be experiencing these benefits at an earlier age and they'd be understanding what was important to music to all the older students. And finally, the third point is to promote music education to first-time students. A common misconception in music is that it's rather exclusive and that if you don't join music within maybe the first couple years of your school career where it's available to you, then it's unavailable later on. This is not the case, as any student can join music at any time in their school career as long as they're willing to put in the time, effort, and learn either their instrument or learn the music they have to sing. So if school programs were open to promoting more to first-time students in older grades, then the interest from outside students would remain higher as they'd be more inclined to join music if the interest ever struck them rather than at a younger age. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma Tessino, and for my AP Capstone project, I explored the implementation of unified sports across Suffolk County. Unified sports are defined as a team of people with and without disabilities combined into one with a shared goal. Starting off, unified sports has a multitude of benefits, including physical, social, and mental advantages. The physical benefits of unified sports helps kids with disabilities who tend to be weaker and at greater risk for health conditions. Unified sports has a shorter duration of playing time and are lower intensity compared to other sports, but simply having the opportunity to join sports alongside their disability helps them decrease complications in the future. Unified sports help build confidence, self-esteem, and communication skills, as well as a positive change in attitude. The rise in self-confidence also helps facilitate social interactions and the formation of friendships. Another critical part of unified sports is that it helps change other kids' perspectives of kids with disabilities. Their once negative biases change as they understood more about kids with disabilities because they got to engage in sports alongside them. Likewise, reducing negative biases can help reduce bullying and aid kids with disabilities socially, as it facilitates relationships and aids them mentally, which helps boost mood, self-esteem, and personal development. These programs have become increasingly popular. However, complications and setbacks arise regarding the implementation of unified sports. As shown by the graph, it is evident that there is a lack of access to these inclusive sports programs, as about 37% of Suffolk County do not have unified sports. The unequal implementation of unified sports leads me to my research question. My research question is, to what extent are special needs inclusive sports programs implemented into suburban Suffolk County high schools with a lower socioeconomic status? This leads to my research gap, as there has been a lack of research defining a relationship between low socioeconomic status and the implementation of unified sports. As such, this research aims to fill this gap by investigating what schools across Suffolk County have unified sports implemented into them and if these specific schools have a higher socioeconomic status. My topic is important because kids with disabilities should have equal opportunities to outside programs and access to the benefits that unified sports entail, especially because the percentage of kids with disabilities are rising and unified sports help promote inclusivity. I strive to examine if this issue is because of a school's socioeconomic status. In order to investigate this, I used a t-test and needs assessment and a norm reference as my method. All these help me determine a correlation between socioeconomic status and the implementation of unified sports. I examined the schools with unified sports implemented and determined their socioeconomic status by inspecting their combined wealth ratio and their economic disadvantage. Then I compared all of this data to schools with and without unified sports. My results showed that combined wealth ratio and the number of kids with disabilities from each school are significant, and the economic disadvantage was not significant. In other words, schools with a low combined wealth ratio and therefore socioeconomic status, and schools that have a higher number of kids with disabilities attending their schools often lack unified sports. Economic disadvantage didn't play a significant role in my study. My new understanding is that this issue is increasingly important, as kids with disabilities should have equal opportunities to their peers, especially considering the benefits that unified sports provide. My research is important to kids with disabilities, and my research aims to provide them with inclusivity, as well as provide the physical, mental, and social advantages of unified sports. Kids shouldn't miss out on these programs just because of where they live or how much money they make. My research aims to raise more awareness about this issue and to create an equal playing field for everyone. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joanna Weinfeld, and over the course of the past few months, I have focused on evaluating school reintegration plans according to eating disorder relapse rates. You may be asking, what are reintegration plans? Psychoeducation professor Dr. Anne-Marie Tugas defines them as a method that establishes continuity of physical and psychosocial support. More specifically, they are methods created by professionals that are working with anyone who has been isolated from their daily life and are now transitioning back into society. In the context of my presentation, I look specifically at adolescents who are returning to school after eating disorder treatment that cause extended absence. My research then focused on what the most efficient plan for reentry to high school after intensive eating disorder treatment that caused extended school absence to lessen relapse incidence rate is. In order to answer this question, I took a mixed method approach in my research. I began by sending out an initial questionnaire to administrators at high schools that are just outside a 50-mile radius of New York City. From there, I set up semi-structured interviews with 7 individuals that fit the criteria of being involved in reintegration to schools after eating disorder treatment. I asked the individuals 4 questions, but question 2 of the interview was aimed to receive qualitative data on the current model of reintegration school districts. All of the interviewees had different roles in the reintegration process at their different school districts. However, they all expressed a common belief that more could be done for the students they have on the reintegration plans. These quotations highlight their opinions. The 6 plans described by each interviewer are laid out in this chart. They each have a support team on the first 5, and 4 of those 5 have a homebound instruction at the New York State minimum of 2 hours a week. Another important thing to note is that Plan F is virtually non-existent. By dividing the number of students on an individual plan who relapse by the total number of students on the plan, I was able to produce the individual relapse rates of each plan. I then compared them to the national average of 33.3% through one proportion z-test. For plans B and C, statistically significant difference were observed as there was a p-value of 0.006 and 0.044, which shows that the plans were effective at reducing relapse rates. But plans D and E were found to be statistically insignificant, so despite their percentages being both above and below the national average, the plan was not found to be the cause of that difference. Plan F had a p-value of 9 times 10 to the negative 11th power, which is also statistically significant. Therefore, no support does in fact increase the risk of relapse. The statistical analysis and qualitative analysis led me to the conclusion that an official plan has a support team, personalization for the students, and provider support, which is why I chose Plan C to be the most effective plan. Plan C could potentially be used as a model for schools who are in a similar situation to Plan F, or even for schools who just want to ensure their students are most supported in their recovery. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Garafola, and thank you for coming and for your undivided attention. Today, I will be discussing my AP Capstone research project surrounding skincare and visual marketing on Instagram. We've all seen these types of advertisements on social media. The newest and most updated versions of beauty products that guarantee to provide amazing results that make you look younger or reduce insecurities. However, how many of these products depicted here actually provide the results that many people long for? Kois Harjati, Harvard graduate and media researcher, explores the structure of popular social media platforms in his article, Development of Digital Marketing Strategies. He attributes its success to the ability of the creators to appeal to the newer generation who are following the next most popular trend on social media. Adita Satiro, social media analyst and graduate of Michigan University, identifies a pitfall in Harjati's work, explaining that it fails to consider Instagram more specifically, which is arguably one of the most important social media platforms in regard to sharing photos and product reviews. So by studying Instagram, I am filling a gap in my research by analyzing a trending product such as skincare. The success of visual marketing does not solely rely on the product itself, but also the way that it is presented and photographed. This sparks the question, to what extent do visual aspects of a skincare product post on Instagram make the photo more or less effective for visual marketing towards a Generation Z audience? There are 4 main steps in my method. First is my database criteria. In this study, I analyzed 120 skincare posts collected from the #skincare page. The conditions necessary to qualify as a popular skincare post are as follows. The post must include a skincare product. A post must be at least 1 week old before it is analyzed, because usually after this point, the like count remains constant. And the post must reach a popularity threshold by having at least 1,000 likes, and the account must have at least 1,000 followers. Next is my visual characteristics. The characteristics of a product that I chose to analyze are the number of the products, the color of the packaging, the consistency of the product aesthetic, the background of the image, the angle of the photo, as well as the overhead or front-facing angles. The visual characteristics definitions, examples, and categories will be provided in 2 tables, similar to photos depicted here and here. The next step in my method is the total appeal measurement, otherwise known as the TAM score. I used a like-to-follower calculation so that it was relative of the proportion of people who liked the post out of the amount of people who it was shown to. So my like-to-follower ratio is the like count divided by the follower count. And additionally, I analyzed signal words in the comment section, such as wow, beautiful, amazing, and where do I buy, as well as emojis such as this and this. And these words or emojis suggest that the commenter finds the picture appealing. Therefore, I used a similar calculation in the signal word frequency to discover which accounts care and to comment on the post relative to the amount of people who saw the post. The signal word frequency is equal to the signal word count divided by the number of total comments. And combining the like and comment ratios make the overall TAM score. My last step of my method is the statistical analysis. In my statistical analysis, I conducted a 2-sample t-test comparing the TAM score of each category and variable to the overall TAM score of the entire sample. This allowed me to analyze which variable had the most impact on the audience. I found that having multiple products in the photo, as well as providing the photo with a theme or aesthetic, are 2 statistically significant themes in my data set, and this displays that the rise of skincare does in fact have a connection to Generation Z, and social media does still reign in its influence. As newer generations adapt to the increased use of technology, it is important for companies to also conform in order to gain attraction to their product. And finally, customers can become more aware of how companies may be drawing them into a product and expose them to the true efficiency of a product before buying it. These are my sources, and thank you.
First and foremost, I just want to thank our capstone students. We started a lot later than we had thought, and you've been here late tonight, and we appreciate all the time that you gave us. Those were just like small snippets of their very long 20-minute presentations and their very lengthy papers that they wrote. And when we talk to graduates of the high school who participate in this program, they basically say that the capstone program prepared them so well for college. There wasn't a single course in freshman or sophomore year that they got into the course, got an assignment, and thought, I can't do this, because look at what they've done. They're doing college level research work on a very high level. So I'm just so proud of you guys, and thank you for everything. Any comments from the Board of Education?
Good, James. Yeah, all right. Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank all of you for presenting. Every year we say we're blown away by these presentations and what you're able to share with us. So many of your topics, even though Dr. Ferris said this is a short snippet, so many of your topics apply to so many issues that we even have here in the district. I'm hoping you can, I'm not sure what your future plans are with these projects, but I'm hoping you can take them on, helping other districts with their unified sports teams, maybe going over to marketing on Instagram, you know. The music program, you're right, you have identified an issue, and I'm happy to see your research. So thank you all, and everyone, thank you so much. Thank you.
And we may use that research to help our music program.
You know, it's funny, we laugh because we knew you were coming, and it's like the first things out of my mouth was like, oh, this is when I feel really stupid. Because I mean, I think what you represent to me, your projects, is really the fulfillment of our school district potential. I felt, you know, and I really see so much of Mr. Hoffer all over this, because you're doing the level of scholarship and research and academic work that I feel like our kids were always capable of. It just makes me really proud of our community. You guys do good work. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, without repeating for the sake of repeating, I agree with what everybody just said, but I also want to say how much I enjoyed how you supported each other as you presented. It was quite obvious that you worked together as a team and you helped each other where needed. And I think that's really important to doing any kind of job, or research. So I appreciated that the most. Thank you.
I'm lucky that my first board meeting, I got retirees, tenures, and then I got to win this. So I just want to, just real quick to each one of you. I thought the first person, I think a survey to the students as to how maybe the teachers could improve their relationships, because that was the low number on the score. I think that would go a long way, and I think that would make your research so relevant and to helping the school immediately. The second one, I'm so curious if you knew what first of all, did you memorize what you were saying? Because that was amazing. Yeah, yeah, I noticed that. That was so impressive. And I just was wondering if you got a specific grade level where the music started to fall off. I know sometimes 7th is a big one, and the freshman year is a big one.
Yeah, mostly my project, a lot of it. In my research, I found that students drop off on transition to high school, from 8th grade to 9th grade.
I thought that was very impressive. The unified one, I'm assuming those are budget issues. The unified sports in the lower socioeconomic schools. I thought that was great. Number 4, you have such a future in research. That was amazing. Your research was stunning, and it was next level. So I was really impressed by that. And the last one. I love the like to view ratio. I thought that was I thought that was incredible. And just being a 5th grade teacher, your research I felt was spot on, because I now have 5th grade students that walk in late because their skincare routine took them 35 minutes. and so I was waiting to get to it, and when you got to that finally, I was like, she nailed it, because it's so true. So I was really impressed with all of you. I thought it was great. Thank you.
And Maureen, do you have any?
No, I just wanted to say they were exceptional, and I agree with all of them. Unified program, every single one of them, I could say good things about. The overindulgence with, hey, if you put this on your face, you're going to look 50 years younger. That's not true. It's so true.
I tried. It didn't work.
It's just interesting. Each generation, it gets different, and you've done an exceptional job. Thank you very, very much.
And just to close the topic, I was just amazed at how the topics are so relevant. And we've spoken about it in the boardroom, engagement. It's part of the goals for the district, trying to improve that. The music, promoting music, the unified sports. I mean, we've had tremendous success in Sayville with the unified sports program. And I would like to follow up with the reintegration plan, to have a conversation about that. And of course, the social media has been on everybody's mind and the influence it has on every aspect of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
And while they're here in front of us, there are kids out of this room who are doing amazing things too. Just a quick around the district. Over 70 of our students were inducted to the National Art Honor Society on May 22nd, with over 31 seniors who will walk with NAHS color cords at this year's graduation with 1,500 hours of community service. We have elementary singers who wowed our judges. They participated from Cherry Avenue Chorus, Lincoln Avenue's Lincoln Singers, and they participated in the Long Island Music Festival on May 17th. The students traveled to Suffolk County Community College to perform in front of 2 judges. Both groups received a superior rating, 97 out of 100, which is about as high as you can get. Over 90 students were inducted into the National Honor Society on May 14th at Sayville High School. 92 members into the National Honor Society. These academic achievers had demonstrated the attributes of, pictures aren't driving, I guess. In addition to maintaining a 94.5 weighted average throughout their high school careers. It's a pretty amazing accomplishment to have that many students in the National Honor Society. I want to thank the Sunrise Drive honors as they honored the first responders on May 17th. They held its first ever First Responders Parade and Reception. The special event welcomed Sunrise Drive family members who are first responders to come and march in a parade around the school. The parade was led by high school band playing patriotic music, followed by the first responders. To welcome special guests, students made pictures, cards, posters for our first responders. Just the range of things going on across the district, from caring, cultural, community events to academics, is just absolutely off the hook. We have research students who earned the Stannies Award and received a prize for her essay. Congratulations to Callie Person for being selected as the recipient of the prestigious Science Teachers Association of New York State Award for Sayville High School in acknowledgement of her outstanding research contributions within the RISE Tech program. Callie was presented with a commemorative plaque during the Stannies Awards dinner held at the Villa Lombardi's on May 22nd. In addition to this accolade, she was also awarded a $250 prize for her exceptional essay. Our unified basketball team was undefeated this season and celebrated their senior night with a win against Patchogue. Before the game, seniors and their families were honored with flowers at midcourt. And this ties right into your research project and the impact that it has. We are an inclusive school district that integrates all students. Our Tri-M inducted new members. Congratulations to the high school students who were inducted into the Tri-M on May 20th. The Music Honor Society is a program of the National Association for Music Educators, which focuses on creating future leaders in music education and music advocacy. In order to be inducted to Tri-M, students must have at least an 85 overall, a 90 GPA in music classes, and perform in at least one recital each year, earn 20 hours of community of service credit, and be outstanding musicians. Then the list of things goes on. Senior barbecue. On June 3rd, the class of 2024 enjoyed a senior barbecue in the high school's back lawn after returning from their inspiration walks, where they go to each elementary school to visit the elementary teachers who, there it is, their elementary teachers who basically, it's the most beautiful thing. The seniors get in their gowns and caps and they walk through their elementary schools where all the kids clap for them and their teachers see them. It was so wonderful watching the seniors hugging their teachers from 3rd grade, 1st grade, kindergarten, who had a part in their education. Because it's not just senior year, it's the whole K-12 experience. We also did something for the first time that I'm really proud of, and I want to thank our high school team for this. On May 22nd, Sayville High School hosted the U.S. Marine Corps in the military appreciation ceremony in the football field. The event even featured helicopter landings for Marine pilots, as well as the Honor Guard and the marching band for the U.S. Marines. It was just a great day that captured the kids, but also honored our veterans in town as well. We also had our Strides Carnival, which was highly attended on Wednesday, March 29th. It was a great success. Kids from all over the district got together with their families. I want to thank Ms. Macris and her PPS team for putting this together. While I missed the first 5 minutes when I was introduced, I got to see the last 2 hours, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I also want to thank our Suffolk County Police Department, who showed up in force just to kind of be around and help out. And you can see one of the pictures, they're interacting with the kids. But there were so many community groups from this event. And it just, again, shows the culture and the community that makes Sayville such an absolutely special place. We celebrated our kids tonight. We celebrated our teachers. And I think we should also just recognize and celebrate our community as well. And there's more. We had congratulations to the high school seniors who were recognized on Wednesday, May 28th for continuing their athletic journey. We had 24 students who signed to play at college athletics when they leave the high school. And that's just a remarkable number of students playing sports and continuing on in their careers. And there's more. Congratulations to the high school students who earned the seal of biliteracy. We had a lot of students. How many students did we have? 27 students had to present and do a lot of work to show that they were bilingual and really able to speak in 2 languages. It was just a remarkable number for a high school of our size. I don't think there's a ratio as good as what we had in terms of our biliteracy. And I want to congratulate the language department, the teachers, the staff, Ms. Richter, and the students who are earning that really difficult, challenging award. We also had a kindergarten signing day. I mean, why not? On Friday, May 31st, Lincoln Avenue held the first signing day ever for the incoming kindergarten students, where students came with their parents and they basically signed in to their future in Lincoln Avenue. I don't think they had a choice. But we made it feel like that. Did they know what they were doing? But
did they know it was for 12 years?
Yeah. But they're smiling, so I think we're good. Also want to congratulate the high school students who were recognized last night at the High School Senior Awards. It was a great ceremony run by the high school administration, the chair people, and the staff. But our students collected over $150,000 worth of local scholarships, which is absolutely outstanding, and another example of this community, how we come together to support our students. And the awards they were winning, not only the department awards in history, social studies, science, math, English, art, music, drama, but also just service, civics, caring about others in the community. And the amount of awards they got was just off the hook. And I just want to thank all the community members, all of the sponsors, and all of the people who put that awards night together for our high school students. And finally, I want to thank the Long Island Coalition Against Bullying, who recognized students for the leadership awards. 2 students from each school were recognized in the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school for their citizenship. Because it's not just enough to celebrate academic success. We want to make sure that the students who go into the world from our schools are good people who stand up for what is right. And we honored these students in the elementary schools. I believe they got a scholarship for $150. Is that correct? Right, which was an amazing thing donated by the LICAB, just to promote kindness, caring, character, and being the kind of kids who make the community a better place. So congratulations to those students as well. It was a really fun morning to be celebrating those kids. And again, this is just, in the world, I said this earlier, there's so much negativity. And you'd think that this is like the most horrible country to live in, but it's really not true. This is the most wonderful place to live. This is the most wonderful town to live. We are lucky to be here, and we have amazing things going on for our kids. So thank you to our teachers, our staff, our community for supporting these students as they head out into the world. Thank you. And that's my report.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment also just to thank the community for their time and their donations. I mean, it's incredible what Sayville has done for our schools, and I want to say thank you. Okay. Any other comments from the board? Good.
I did want to make one comment.
Sure.
The around the bend. It's easy to kind of overlook how successful the Strides Carnival is. This was, last year was big. The year prior was big. This was significantly larger than any one we've had. And I think there's just full embrace and acceptance of what it represents. I just feel like we're 10 years ahead of the curve. And I think, I'm really proud of the work you're doing. Thank you.
Okay. Next item on agenda is Board of Education discussion. So the first item was the awards dinner honoring John Verdone. Any feedback from that?
It was amazing to see him. It was really nice to honor him. And he deserved every recognition that we were able to give him. We miss you, John.
And we like your new hairdo.
Oh, yes. He's living wild these days.
He's like a mountain. We know you're watching, so we're going to say that on purpose. You're like a mountain man.
The last we saw John was last year, and he always kept his hair so short, gray. And we walk into the room, and it's just flowing like
Fabio.
He looked like a Fabio.
But I have to say, it was so nice to see how healthy he was, and how grateful he was for his time at Sayville. And he wanted to convey his thanks to everybody. Okay.
Do the instructional pause. I'm going to congratulate Stephanie.
Okay, good. And then let's see. We have the next item is the Board of Education calendar. Some of you want to talk about that.
Are these open to discussion?
We could discuss.
Yes. The July 25th meeting, is there a way we can move that a week earlier or a week later?
Yeah, the difficulty with that is,
It's summer and everyone's busy? Is
Yeah,
that the
if we move
difficulty?
if we move it a week earlier,
Yeah.
I know I have a commitment.
Should- Just from a operational
How about a
standpoint,
day earlier?
one of the things we do, sometimes we hire in the summer and we use that meeting as an opportunity to get people on board because they have to give their schools 30 days notice. And so if we don't, appoint them or if they're not ready to be appointed, then we would not be able to appoint them till late August, and then they might get a late start. So I just want to be careful about moving that date for that operational reason. But
Well, can we move it to
maybe
earlier
what-
that week?
Could we do it like,
The 23rd?
The 23rd or 24th, would that be possible?
Either one of those.
Can we
would
make
work.
it tentative that maybe if we could see if we can move it up?
yeah, I could work with Julie on that, and then we'll send you a tentative, and then if you all agree, we'll
Okay.
yeah, I think earlier in the same week would be doable from an operational
Okay, that
standpoint.
would be helpful. Thank you.
And
I
we
don't want to
would
miss
really
it.
want you here.
I don't want to miss it.
want
I'm
you
going to
go
miss
on
the next
vacation.
one. I don't want to miss too many. That's right. I don't want to do them in the first month.
Any other questions about the schedule? Yeah. Yeah. What other day?
Yeah, July 2nd by
You're-
law,
You're
we
away
have-
the whole week.
we have, we have to meet that week because it's a reorg meeting, and you have to do it by the turn of the July calendar.
Okay, that's good. Any other board discussion? No? Okay, I guess I'll open for public comment. Just so you're familiar, we have two public comment periods. The first public comment is just for agenda items, and then we have one at the end for general comments. So is there anybody that would like to speak at this time? Raise your hand. Is anybody from the public here?
I know you
Okay.
guys want to stay later and later. Let's keep it going.
Okay, so we don't have any public comment. So now we'll move on to, let's see. Did you want to say something first? Or would you?
Why don't you vote on it and then I'll announce it.
Okay, but which one are we voting on?
Go through it, but when you get to the instructional, stop after you vote and then I'll.
Okay, fine. Okay, so right now we have 5-0, no, where were we? We're at 701. Okay, the motion for minutes. Any motion? James and Maureen, discussion? Discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Then we need 701. Sorry, we did that. 801 through 808. Need a motion? Kelly and Christine, any discussion?
I'd just like to mention that the Suffolk Transportation Services is making a $4,000 donation to be awarded to some chosen students that are graduating. So I'd just like to say thank you for that. It's really generous. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one of the things we're doing is certifying the budget results. And I just want to say that as a group. I am glad that the budget passed. Obviously, the community came out overwhelmingly supported it. And we were able not to touch programs, even though we made fiscally responsible decisions. I do want to make sure that as we get closer to the school year, we sort of projected some things like class sizes and support for certain areas, that we keep an eye on that and make sure that we are mindful that our decisions were exactly what we thought they were going to be and are not negatively impacting any students in any way.
Yeah, as we get closer to the end of the year, high school and middle school particularly give us projections for class sizes. So we'll review all the class sizes and make sure where we need to be. And if we're not where we need to be, we'll make sure that we are.
Thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor? Motion carries. And then we need, we did 901. We need 903 to 904. Motion?
Motion.
Christine, Kelly, discussion? No? All those in favor? Against? Motion carries. And then we have that was the instruction.
All right, so with that motion, I just wanted to make an announcement that I'm very happy to make, which is that with that vote, we just appointed Stephanie Bricker as the new incoming principal of Sayville High School. Stephanie started her career here in Sayville as a student, graduating from the high school, was a teacher, an assistant principal, and now she takes on the helm at the high school, and we couldn't be happier and more excited. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Looking forward to exciting things. Okay, now our last bunch of things, 1001 through 1004. I need a motion. Kelly, Maureen, discussion?
We just have a bunch of new policies up.
Yes.
So we're going to just make sure we get those reviewed so we can do it next week.
Okay.
Next weekend.
Good.
20th.
Okay. All those in favor? Against? Motion carries. And then upcoming dates. We have the All Elementary Band and Orchestra concert on June 11th at 7:30 at the middle school. We have on June 14th, we have Flag Day celebrations. On June 19th is Juneteenth. Schools are closed. On June 20th, we have a Board of Education meeting. Yay. At the old junior high. Okay. And then we have the final public comment period. Please, anyone raise their hand if they would like to say something. It's your last chance.
You can always come back on the 20th.
Okay. And I will going to close the public meeting, and then we're going to move to executive session. I need a motion. Oh, sorry, 1 second. To discuss employment of particular personnel. Motion?
Second.
Christine, Kelly, discussion? All those in favor? We're going into executive session. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.